Hello everyone, Andy Wolverton here at Journeys in Darkness and Light, and today I'm going to talk about a film that's totally appropriate for Black History Month or any time. It's a movie that doesn't get talked about nearly enough, a film Roger Ebert called one of the most joyful movies I've ever seen. I'm talking about the 1982 documentary Say Amen Somebody, directed by George T. Nirenberg. When I first heard about this movie on an episode of Sneak Previews in 1982, I was in the middle of my second year of college, majoring in music. Sometimes I found little joy in that pursuit, struggling through music theory, the tangled ball of string that is music history, teeth-gnashing 12-tone music, sweating through marching band rehearsals, and learning that my own trumpet playing wasn't cutting it. Yet here, Ebert promised was a movie about music that was joyful. I sought the film out, but it opened in limited release, and I couldn't find it. It didn't matter whether it became available on VHS, since I didn't then own a VCR. The film and I never crossed paths until nearly 40 years later, thanks to a 4K restoration by Milestone Films, with support from the National Museum of African American History and Culture, the Academy Film Archive, and the Criterion Channel. Say Amen Somebody opens with a close shot of an elderly African American man wearing a cream-colored suit, slightly stooped over and facing the camera. His speech is soft from many decades of use, but the power is unmistakable. Down through the ages, gospel's what? What did they say it was? He awaits an answer and receives none. You mean to tell me you don't know that? Good news? On down through the ages, gospel was good news. If you don't know that, I will throw you out of here myself. You've just met Thomas A. Dorsey, often recognized as the father of gospel music, a man who played piano for blues legend Ma Rainey and wrote the gospel standard, Take My Hand, Precious Lord, among others. In less than a minute of screen time, we understand that Dorsey is gospel royalty, an icon. But so is Mother Willie Mae Ford Smith, an associate of Dorsey who performed and trained gospel singers for most of her adult life. Although her years of singing and teaching have no doubt earned such behavior, she's no diva. Smith seems less a performer and more an evangelist. And I mean that in the word's true sense as someone who brings the gospel to others. It's just a feeling within, Smith says. You can't help yourself. It goes between the marrow and the bones. You hear me say I want to fly away somewhere. I feel like I can fly away. I forget I'm in the world sometimes. I just want to take off. Ford, who was 78 at the time of filming, and Dorsey, who was 83, are both on screen for much of the film. Both have stories to tell. Both are forces of nature. Yet the story is larger than these two pioneers. It's about the music, but the music as an avenue to deliver a message. In what may have been an impromptu moment, Smith sings to a group of elderly people, black and white, in a restaurant. They are all dancing and clapping, and it doesn't take long for you to understand why. Whether she's in a restaurant or a massive church, Smith's singing is compelling, powerful, and irresistible. I have a God to glorify, she tells the camera in an on-the-street interview. The Lord gave me a charge, and that's my voice to sing and preach, and I do both. One might think that the intent of the film is educational, to instruct people in the history of African American gospel music, as well as the stories of Dorsey and Smith. But this is no boring, stuffy documentary. Say Amen Somebody is perhaps the most fully alive documentary I have ever seen. And although songs like Jesus Dropped the Charges will absolutely knock you out, the film also includes glimpses of the less sanctified side of humanity. Mother Smith and Dorsey's longtime manager Sally Martin disagree, argue would be too strong a word, over the actual date and place of the first gospel convention. Smith and her adult grandson banter over a theological issue. Singer Zella Jackson Price laments the amount of time that performing takes her away from her family. So does Reverend Frank Campbell, whose wife, Delois Barrett Campbell, has an opportunity to tour Europe, singing with her two sisters, leaving the rest of her family for an extended time. The O'Neill twins, Edward and Edgar, bemoan the fact that gospel music, even in 1982, was getting far too commercial and focused on entertainment rather than worship. Yet they all press on. The film could have legitimately stolen the tagline from The Blues Brothers, a film made just 2 years before. We're on a mission from God. Dorsey remembers how he took church music and spiritual hymns, spiced them up, and called it gospel music. But congregations in the 1930s and 40s didn't want blues-based singing in their churches. After organizing a gospel singers convention, things began to change. By 1982, and well before, a multitude of African American Christian churches embraced gospel music from small congregations to megachurches, utilizing small groups or large choirs with orchestras. But getting there wasn't easy. Some might look at Say Amen Somebody and see only its charisma and energy, dismissing it as pure emotionalism without solid theology. Are the participants simply caught up in the enthusiasm of the moment, or does the joy come from a genuine celebration of the good news of Christ? Listen to the songs. The gospel message is clearly there. Are people criticizing the message itself or the package it's delivered in? You don't have to be a believer to enjoy Say Amen Somebody, but who knows? You could be one afterward. Filmmaker George Nirenberg seems an unlikely choice for such a film project. Nirenberg, a white Jewish filmmaker, had no experience with gospel music, but was encouraged by blues guitarist Ry Cooder to explore it. Nirenberg spent a year in African American churches, becoming familiar with their music, their culture, and their lives. All of the film's participants are clearly at ease in front of the camera. They obviously trusted Nirenberg. I wish I could see this film in a packed theater, not only to experience the music surrounding me, but also to see how many theater goers would actually get out of their seats and start dancing. I couldn't guarantee I wouldn't be one of them. Say Amen Somebody is currently playing on the Criterion Channel and can be rented from various streaming services. You can also own the Blu-ray or DVD from Milestone Films, available through the Kino Lorber website. The Blu-ray extras include an audio commentary by Nirenberg, outtakes of the Barrett sisters in rehearsal at home, a new interview with Zella Jackson Price, audio outtakes, and Nirenberg introducing the film at the Berlin Film Festival. I hope you'll check out this joyous film. Thank you for watching.